Every step of Michael Jackson's life. If you were him, every level of Michael Jackson's life looked like a rise, but it didn't feel like one. It felt like survival. Fame didn't upgrade him, it tested him. And somewhere along the way, the world stopped seeing Michael Jackson and started watching a legend they could never reach. What if you didn't just watch Michael Jackson's life, but lived it? From a child in the Jackson 5, under extreme pressure, to global superstardom, to isolation, controversy and legacy, this video breaks down every major stage of his life as a level system, showing how each era shaped the man behind the icon. This is not just history. This is what it would feel like if you were him. Level 1, the prison of talent. Before the world ever knew the name Michael Jackson, there was just a kid in Gary, Indiana, trying to survive a dream that wasn't really his. You don't get a normal childhood when your talent is your ticket out. Michael didn't grow into fame. He was placed inside it, night after night. Rehearsals replaced play. School wasn't the escape. It was the thing squeezed in between performances. His father, Joe Jackson, didn't see childhood as something to protect. He saw discipline as the price of greatness. Mistakes weren't corrected gently, they were punished. Repeated, drilled into perfection until there was no room left for softness. And Motown didn't care either. To them, Michael wasn't a kid. He was a product, a voice, a face, a machine built to perform on cue. So while other kids were learning who they were, Michael was learning who he had to be. Smiling on stage, rehearsing off stage, repeating the cycle until the line between him and the performance started to blur. This is where it really begins. Not with fame, with ownership. Before the world knew his name, it already owned him. Level 2, breaking free. Years have passed since your life stopped being normal. Tour buses, screaming crowds, interviews, rehearsals. Day after day, city after city, the Jackson 5 became one of the biggest groups in the world. But now you're older, and for the first time you start wondering something dangerous. What if the world wanted you more than the group? You've spent your whole childhood making money for everyone around you. Record labels, managers, family. But now you want more control, more freedom, more money, a career that belongs to you. And with fame getting bigger, your image suddenly matters more than ever. Cameras follow every move. Magazine covers analyze your face. The pressure to become the perfect pop star starts changing the way you see yourself. This is the moment Michael Jackson stops being just a child performer and starts becoming an icon. For the first time in your life, the spotlight isn't shared anymore. No brothers beside you, no group name protecting you. Just you alone with the pressure of proving you were more than a child star. Inside the studio, everything starts changing. You meet producers who finally understand your vision. The music becomes smoother, sharper, bigger. Not just catchy songs, but a sound the world hasn't heard before. For once you aren't just following instructions. You're creating, controlling the sound, the dancing, the image. Every detail becomes part of the performance. But while the fame grows, so does the insecurity. Cameras capture every angle. Every flaw feels permanent. And slowly, the person in the mirror starts feeling unfinished. Then comes the first major change. A surgery meant to fix an injury. But it also becomes the beginning of a new image. The start of transforming yourself into something the world could never stop staring at. You aren't just performing anymore. You're evolving into something larger than human. A new sound, a new face, a new version of Micheal Jackson. And the world is finally starting to notice. Level 3, God Mode Activated, Thriller Era. The transformation. The world already knew your name. But now you wanted them to remember your image forever. The afros disappear. The jerry curls take over. The jackets become sharper. The style becomes iconic. Every detail about you starts feeling larger than life. Hit after hit. Then the music changes everything. Billy Zhang. Beat It. Wanna be starting something. Thriller. Every song feels bigger than the last. Suddenly, the entire planet is moving to your rhythm. The moonwalk, and then it happens. One performance, one move. One moment that rewrites pop culture forever. The moonwalk doesn't just impress people. It shocks the world. 8 Grammys. Awards stop feeling special because you're winning all of them. One night. 8 Grammys. History happening in real time. At this point, you aren't chasing success anymore. Success is chasing you. Rewriting reality. This isn't normal celebrity anymore. Crowds scream before you even appear. Cities shut down when you arrive. Your music plays everywhere on Earth. At this level, you aren't competing with artists anymore. You're rewriting reality. Level 4, the breaking point, Pepsi incident. The price of success. You've reached the top of the world. The biggest album on Earth. Awards, records, history. But behind it all, there's pressure you can't escape. Even your own family sees your success as something to keep exploiting. Forced back on tour. You want space. You want control. But you're still being pushed forward. Another tour is planned. More shows. More money. Less choice. The machine keeps moving even when you don't want it to. Pepsi incident. Then it happens. A commercial shoot. Bright lights. Pyrotechnics. A moment goes wrong. Fire. Pain. Panic. Your scalp is burned. And everything changes in seconds. The first real damage. After the incident, the pain doesn't stop. Surgeries begin. Recovery replaces rest. The world still expects perfection. But behind the curtain, cracks start forming for the first time. Victory tour pressure. The tour continues anyway. Stadiums filled with screaming fans. But inside the machine, everything feels unstable. You're performing through pain, through pressure, through exhaustion. Breaking point announcement. Then you do something nobody expects. Mid-performance, you stop. You announce it live. This is the last time you'll ever tour with them again. The crowd doesn't understand, but you do. Walking away. Backstage, arguments explode. Pressure, control, history. But you don't respond anymore. You turn away and walk off, leaving the group behind for your own path. The start of solo control. For the first time, There is no group, no management holding you down, no one steering the direction, just you, standing alone in the spotlight, beginning your solo reign. The machine didn't break him. It started to. Level 5, the King Reforged, Bad Era. The return of power. After everything, you don't disappear. You return stronger, sharper, louder. The world thought you were breaking. Instead, you came back reforged. Bad era explosion. You just keep dropping hit after hit. The music hits different now. Bad. Smooth criminal. Dirty Diana. Another part of me. Speed demon. The way you make me feel. Every track further solidifies his greatness. Every release feels like a statement. Not just songs, declarations of dominance. Global domination again. Stadiums fill again. Cities stop when you arrive. Number 1 hits stack like trophies. The world realizes something simple. You never left the top. You just changed form. The new image. But something shifts. The music isn't the only thing people talk about anymore. The outfit, the face, the mystery. The image becomes louder than the sound. And suddenly, you're being watched differently. Media obsession. Cameras don't follow your performances anymore. They follow your existence. Every movement analyzed. Every detail questioned. Fame stops feeling like music and starts feeling like surveillance. Heavy crown. You're still the king. Still number 1. Still untouchable on stage. But the crown feels different now. Heavier. Like it was never meant to be worn this long. The crown was still his, but it started to feel heavy. Level 6. The fall of public trust. Early allegations era. The silence before impact. The noise of success fades, and something unfamiliar takes its place. Silence. Not peace, but waiting. You feel it in the air. Like the world is about to change its mind about you. No Grammys, no protection. This time there are no victories to shield you. No new records to distract the public. Just distance growing between you and the world. And the strange feeling that fame doesn't protect you anymore. 1993 shockwave. Then it hits. 1993. Accusations, headlines, cameras everywhere. The world stops listening to music and starts consuming your name like a story they think they already understand. Global media storm. Every screen shows a version of you, but none of them feel like you. News, rumors, interviews, speculation. The image spreads faster than truth ever could, and control starts slipping away, fracturing perception. The world no longer sees a performer. They see a headline, a symbol, a debate they argue about without knowing you. And slowly, your identity splits in two. The person you are and the story they created. The point of no return. This is where everything changes. Not your music, not your talent, but how the world looks at you. Permanently. This is where the world stopped seeing the man and started seeing a headline. Level 7. Dangerous. A new sound. The world already knows you as a legend. But legends don't survive by standing still. So you reinvent yourself again. Harder beats. Sharper visuals. Bigger messages. This isn't just pop music anymore. It feels global. Songs with a message. Black or white. Remember the time. In the closet. Jam. No matter how chaotic the world becomes, your music still pushes unity, love, and escape. You want people dancing, but also thinking. Careful with collaborations. While working on your latest project, you get a call about a collaboration. You respectfully decline the offer, and it reminds you of a project you worked on back in 1985, We Are the World. Years earlier, you stood beside some of the biggest artists on earth creating an iconic charity anthem. The experience changed you. Fame around other stars felt complicated, competitive, loud. Since then, you've become careful about who enters your creative space. You definitely didn't want to collaborate with them again. The most powerful contract. The industry realizes something terrifying. You aren't just an artist anymore. You're an empire. Record-breaking contracts. Worldwide campaigns. Stadium tours across the planet. At this point, your name alone moved billions. The Dangerous World Tour. The tours become larger than reality itself. Golden armor. Military jackets. Explosions. Giant stages built like futuristic kingdoms. Crowds scream before the music even starts. The love story. But the media keeps focusing on one thing. Your image. Your relationships. Your loneliness. Eventually, you meet someone who understands what living inside fame feels like. Lisa Marie Presley. And for a moment, the world outside disappears. The Super Bowl. Then comes one of the biggest stages on earth. Millions watching. Silence. Then, explosion. One performance changes live television forever. Even people who never listen to your music stop and stare. The storm returns. But just as the era reaches its peak, the shadows return. Headlines replace music again. Rumors spread faster than truth. The pressure becomes unbearable. And slowly, the world starts changing the story around you. Dangerous. You wanted to bring people together. Through music. Through performance. Through imagination. But the bigger your message became, the more dangerous fame itself started to feel. Part 8. Neverland Reality SPLIT. History Era. Building Neverland. You build a world that looks impossible. Trains, rides, animals, laughter. A place where childhood never has to end. Because deep down, yours already did long ago. The raid. Then reality crashes into the fantasy. August 1993. Investigators enter the gates. Cameras surround the property. The safest place you created suddenly feels exposed to the entire world. History. Instead of disappearing, you respond through music. Loudly. Scream. Earth song. They don't care about us. The anger, paranoia, sadness, and loneliness all pour into the sound. Love and escape. You try building a normal life. Lisa Marie enters your world. For a moment it feels real. Two people raised inside impossible fame trying to understand each other. But eventually, love alone isn't enough to survive the pressure surrounding you. Fatherhood. Then your children arrive. Prince. Paris. Suddenly, protecting innocence becomes more important than protecting fame. You want to give them the childhood you never had. The world tour machine. But the machine keeps moving. Massive tours. Giant statues. Global performances. Armor-like costumes making you look less human and more mythological. Every concert feels like the world watching a symbol instead of a person. Paranoia. The media pressure never stops. Nicknames, rumors, headlines. Every movement becomes suspicious to someone. The more you try defending yourself, the more isolated you become. Reality split. Neverland was supposed to protect your inner child. Instead, it becomes a symbol people argue about endlessly. To some, it looks magical. To others, strange. And somewhere between those two versions, the real you starts disappearing. Childhood frozen forever. He built a world where childhood lived, because he never got one, and now he's trapped between fantasy and reality, unable to fully belong to either. Part 9. Invincible Era, the final battle for control. The most expensive album ever made. Years of work. Hundreds of musicians. Millions spent. You're building something massive, something meant to outlive everything before it. But the world is already different now. Less patient, less loyal, more aggressive. The sound of Invincible. You rock my world. Butterflies. Cry. 2,000 watts. The sound evolves again. Smooth, emotional, controlled. You're still pushing music forward, even when everything around you feels like it's pulling back. Sony War. Behind the music, a war begins. Contracts, control, power. You feel ignored, undervalued, betrayed. So you take the fight to the streets. Cameras watch as frustration becomes public. Chris Tucker friendship. But not everything is conflict. In the middle of chaos, you find laughter. A comedian becomes a close friend. Someone who sees you as a person, not a headline. For a moment, the world feels lighter. You rock my world. You step into a cinematic world again. Stylish suits, neon lights, smooth movement. The last great blockbuster style. Music era begins. But even here, something feels different. The world is watching less for music, more for you. The private home theater. In a private theater, you sit with your children and staff. A documentary plays. At first, it feels like insight. Then it twists. Scenes are framed differently. Your words are reshaped into suspicion. The room goes silent. Trust breaks in real time. Media. Turning point? What was meant to show your life becomes something else entirely. Headlines explode again. The story leaves your control, and the world reacts before you can respond. The raids, then it escalates. Authorities arrive. Searches begin. Your home no longer feels like home. It feels like a stage you didn't agree to perform on. Fatherhood under pressure. You try to show love, to show your children to the world. But even innocence is questioned. A moment meant for family becomes a global debate. And suddenly, even joy feels unsafe. Violation of privacy. At your lowest point, privacy disappears completely. You're exposed, examined, judged. A human life reduced to headlines and procedure. There is no stage left. Only survival. the name that can't rest. This is invincible, not because nothing can hurt you, but because you keep going anyway. Through pressure, through noise, through collapse, still creating, still standing, even when the world stops listening the same way. Level 10, Trial of the Century 2005 ERA. The trial begins. The world stops watching music. Now it watches a courtroom. Cameras line every street. Headlines spread before facts do. And every movement you make becomes global news. The circus outside the courthouse. It barely feels legal anymore. Reporters scream questions. Fans cry in the streets. Protesters argue across barricades. The trial becomes entertainment for the entire planet. Fighting back. Your defense fights to protect what remains of your name. Friends step forward publicly. Some of the few people who still trust you stand beside you in front of the world. But trust itself feels damaged beyond repair. The exhaustion. Months pass. Stress turns into exhaustion. Sleep disappears. Normal life disappears. You're no longer living, just enduring. The verdict. Then finally, silence. The verdict arrives. Not guilty. Count after count after count. Legally, you survive. Victory without peace. But outside the courtroom, nothing feels repaired. The accusations may be gone legally, but the damage remains inside public memory. The world already chose its narrative years ago, leaving Neverland. After everything, Neverland no longer feels magical. The place once built to preserve childhood now feels haunted by scrutiny. So you leave it behind, socially convicted. He won legally, but lost socially. And sometimes public opinion becomes a sentence no courtroom can reverse. Part 11, Ghost of Fame. This is IT era. The announcement. March 5, 2009. The world thinks you disappeared. Then suddenly, you walk onto a stage in London. Calm, thin, soft-spoken. This is it. 4 words that shake the planet. 50 nights. At first, it's only supposed to be a few concerts. Then demand explodes. 10 shows become 50. Fans across the world rush for tickets. The comeback instantly becomes one of the biggest events in music history. Debt and pressure. But behind the excitement, reality feels heavier. Financial pressure closes in. Industry expectations return. Everyone wants the legend back, even if the man himself is exhausted. Rehearsals. April turns into June. Endless rehearsals. Giant stages. New dancers. Old songs reborn again. Even tired. Your instincts still take over when the music starts. Still Micheal. The movements are slower now, the body thinner. But then the beat drops, and flashes of the old magic return. For a few seconds, the world sees him again. The final rehearsal, June 24th, 2009. One final rehearsal. Lights flood the stage. Earth song echoes through the arena. Nobody realizes they're witnessing the final performance of a lifetime. Ghost of Fame. Even after all the trials, the spotlight never truly leaves you alone. Fame follows like a ghost, demanding one more performance, one more comeback, one more miracle. This is it. This was supposed to be a return, a goodbye, a final celebration. Instead, it became the last chapter of the myth itself. Final level, the end of the performance, 2009, June 25th, 2009. The comeback is only days away. Costumes prepared, dancers waiting, tickets sold across the world. Then suddenly, everything stops. Cardiac arrest. Inside the mansion, panic replaces music. Calls are made. Security rushes through hallways. The greatest performer on earth is now just a patient fighting to survive. And outside, nobody knows yet. The news breaks. Then the headlines appear. Phones light up. TV stations interrupt broadcasts. Crowds gather outside hospitals and stores. Across the planet, disbelief spreads in real time. The world freezes. People replay old performances instantly. The Moonwalk, Thriller, Billy Zhang, concerts, interviews, childhood memories. It's like the entire world suddenly realizes how much space he occupied in culture. This is it. The rehearsals meant for a comeback become something else instead. A memorial. The unfinished final chapter is turned into a film. Millions watch the ghost of a performance that never fully happened. The trial. Questions follow immediately. Investigations. Courtrooms. Doctors. The search for blame becomes global news itself. Even after death, the spotlight refuses to let go. The myth begins. Debts disappear. Music sales explode. Murals cover cities. New generations discover the legend for the first time. Slowly, the human being fades into mythology, forever performing. The music stopped, but the world kept replaying him, again and again, until the performer became permanent.